Well, here we are again, Artist Journal, September 11th, 2022, Berlin. My name is Adrian Pocobelli, and I welcome you back, my friends, my digital friends, my real friends. It's like having a morning coffee conversation with all of your favorite digital friends. And what a group. So very fun and exciting. Frankly, a lot of exclusive content is what I would say we're back with. Again, thanks to Strange Thing is back with more very interesting and detailed comments about his process. And thank you to Padrino and Strange Thing for cluing me in about MJ. MJ is Midjourney, which is on Discord, which I had heard of like some Discord AI bot, and that kind of mystified me a little bit because I thought, how on earth is there an AI bot on Discord? I thought Discord was some sort of community server thing, and which it is. And so, but anyway, I got clued in thanks to Strange Thing and also thanks to Padrino. And I downloaded, or I guess I joined their Discord server, is what I did. And everybody can do this. Just go to here. Let me share the info. Go to Midjourney's Twitter so that you don't get some scam, right? And click on the Discord. They have 144,000 followers, so that looks legit. Let's see. But it is. This one worked for me, and I haven't been scammed. So you can click on there, and then you go to newbie. Just follow their little instructions. I was doing some experiments. Here I was just like Lego spaceship. Okay, interesting. I think I put Thunder God over the sea because all the sea images kind of looked impressive. So I wanted to get in on the action. I don't know if I'd consider mine as impressive. But you know what I learned? Just doing a few prompts. Here I was thinking about Strange Thing. I was like, okay, well, Nike fashion science fiction was my prompt there. And I was like, I have to say, like, first of all, first thought is it's not as easy as it looks. Okay? I mean, this is the classic, and I'm glad that we went down this journey together before trying out the tools, right? Because now we're going to see exposed the biases that people might have. And Strange Thing was also referencing this yesterday. This is good so that people can understand. And credit to him for having the courage, in a sense, to lay it on the table. I think he's got the courage of his convictions, in the sense that you'll see, as we're going to go in this episode, he's revealing a surprising amount about his process. Almost worryingly so, but then when you start trying to, I think I put Dutch oil painting thug, for example, and you get nothing like what he's doing. So I think the first thing to note is, and I'm just starting, okay? And I haven't used DALL-E yet, although I was on the website, and I got to say the website's impressive. I've had my invite for like a month. I signed up like 3 months or 4 months ago, whenever you got that, when you could put your email address in. And so that's just a matter of time. Like, in a sense, like, I do feel a little bit like I'm going down the rabbit hole here, which is really exciting. I mean, how exciting is that? And I was even looking at this here, futuristic Nike fashion. It's like, it's not a terrible, concept piece. Like, if I had hired someone and paid them $2,000 to put a concept piece of Nike sci-fi clothing for the movie I'm making, hypothetically, which I am not, but if I were to do that, I'd say, okay, that's your $2,000, fine. I guess I can be happy with that. It looks pretty somewhat persuasive. Maybe capes are a great idea, and we have these great curves. So anyways, all to say, I've begun going down the rabbit hole. And this is literally made like 20 minutes ago, this stuff. And it's pretty interesting. I mean, so first let's start with some AI work, and then we're going to go into what Strange Thing is saying And then we're going to cover some of the other stuff that's going on. We had that myth auction yesterday, which I was actually watching pretty closely. Okay, so let's start here. We have a work by Von Doyle, okay, who I'd never really heard. Maybe I'd seen their name once or twice. So I look at this and I go, okay, this is a pretty nice work. Looks like probably AI is involved, right? So I was like, okay, kind of impressive. Maybe weird space and whatever, like you have this bug coming out here. There's, what do they call it? I think a simultaneous narrative. I'm going to have to find out where in Italian painting, sometimes is it Masaccio? Wow, I hope we can find this. I'm really taking a risk here. Masaccio images. I think it actually is this one. Yes. Oh, I'm thrilled. Now we can see if we can get a nice rendition here. Oh, we have a big rendition too. Now this other one looks cropped though. So this one's more important. It's smaller, but it's the full thing. And I believe we call this simultaneous narrative, where you have St. Peter here, and then you have, I think it's St. Peter, and then you have him here, and then you have him here. And so you're seeing a simultaneous narrative. I'm not sure, I'll double check on that term. It's a lecture I watched about 4 years ago from the Great Courses, which I highly recommend. So yeah, now let's go back to this. So I don't know if we'd call this simultaneous narratives because I'm not sure we're seeing the same person, although this person looks like the same thing. And let's not overanalyze it here, and let's not take too long on this. All to say, there's a few different kind of things going on here. It is AI, as we see in the tag. AI, surreal. So again, this combination of AI and surrealism. So Von Doyle, Beneath the Surface, Exploring the Universe Beyond the Limits of Apollo and the Muses by Martin van Heemskerk through collaboration with the AI. Okay? And this person, Von Doyle, has been doing quite well. Again, from a market perspective, AI is also very interesting. Like, look at the prices. Offer 40 on that current piece, edition of 10. We can even see how fast they sold. Let's just look at the history very quickly. Listed at 7 p.m. yesterday and was sold out by 9:30 my time, Berlin time, at 25 Tezos a piece, so not cheap at all, and sold. So he made 250 Tezos right there, boom, and now selling for 250, and there's already an offer for 40. So, interesting market. And I was on his Twitter. He's from Montreal. Featured in Vanity Fair, punk artists disturbing the old masters with AI. So it's hard not to see this as kind of a wave of sorts in the arts. And I have to say, just the initial attempts here, very preliminary, very, very preliminary. It's harder than it looks. And I was kind of reminded about, when people who know nothing about art history and then they go and see Picasso scribbling and they go, my kid could do that. Like, you have to wonder, will this kind of be a similar sort of thing? Like, you just don't understand, Adrian. It's in fact much more complicated. And so that's why we are investigating the actual tools so that we do slowly get to know what we're talking about here. Anyway, very quickly, Von Doyle is just sort of saying, look at this, guys. Things are going very well. Probably nothing. Taking a look at his sales. I assume Von Doyle, well, let's just call it Von Doyle. We don't know. And this is all very recent, is another thing I want to point out. Like, I'd say the first major one is 3 images ago. And when did this come out? This is like literally, like, it's September 11th today. This came out September 7th. So this person using AI and all of this stuff, like, it seems to me that they have taken off in the last week, not even, okay, the last 5 days. Maybe they had a big following before, but you see a distinct change here, because now you're starting to see traditional oil painting contrast with this other work that, isn't going to necessarily appeal and get that kind of elite money that people are willing to pay. Although I could be totally wrong on that. Like, look at the numbers here. They're actually quite high prices and high offers too. So this person has been doing AI, like the date here is May 28th. Okay. This piece is every small painting in this piece was created using the text-to-image AI Midjourney. So they're using Midjourney too. So very interesting. Okay, so we're just learning more and more, and this person isn't new to the party, I guess. So, and maybe their market hasn't just taken off then. To me, there's a bit of a, I don't want to call it a quality difference, but there's a qualitative difference in the last few where I could see these really taking off. These portraits of sublime desperation, these last three. Because, to me, this doesn't even look like it should be in the same series over here. But whatever, this person doesn't need to take lectures from me. They're doing fabulous. Okay, moving on. Computer graphics designer based in Los Angeles. This is another guy I've been looking at who I think is an AI guy, Eddie Tree. He's not saying, though, that he's AI. I assume it's a guy, Eddie. But you see, this looks like Monet meets another person whose name I don't remember, maybe Vuillard? Vuillard? Maybe Monet meets Vuillard? Let's just see if that's a real person. Vuillard paintings, yep. I think that's the right person. Yeah, but sort of like this, again, kind of impressionist. Wow, that reminds me of Sumi Ryusi. That's interesting. Of her AI works, actually. So, and interesting. So, yeah. So anyways, the plot thickens on this. And this is, to me, this is looking a lot more complicated than maybe pressing a button, as I was saying earlier. We got a comment from Strange Thing, a very generous comment. So MJ, he was answering my question of if anybody knows what MJ is Midjourney. It's AI, but used via Discord. Those were those works I was showing you. So I tried it out. You type imagine prompt and use your imagination. Could this be classed as an edit? I think it's an idea. I think that's an open question, though. I don't say that with strong conviction. Perhaps. It's sort of like if we were to go back to our fountain example with Duchamp. We didn't describe Duchamp choosing the urinal as a thing, as an edit. That was, we might call a decision, and I don't know, maybe all these terms are going to break apart here, but let's just call it a decision for right now with edits. Deciding on this is the thing I'm going to do, and then this is the work I'm going to work with, and then he made his 3 edits, as we pointed out last episode. So I'm tempted to not call the prompts, like the text prompts, as an edit. I feel like the text prompts are the idea. Okay, let's call it the idea. And then it's always nice if there's edits on top. And I think this person here, I think on their Twitter, maybe I saw that they were disturbing the old masters with AI. I think they're editing. I thought I saw somewhere that they're editing their works. I'm tempted to think this person is AI as well. It's kind of got AI written all over it without actually it being said that it's AI. And I don't know if that's necessarily a bad thing. I think it's always nice as a collector when you're collecting to know what you're buying to a certain degree. But I think AI, it's sort of like, do you have to say that you used a paintbrush and Photoshop? And like, maybe it's nice. I think it's nice if, oil on canvas, but do you need to say every single tool? And I used a ruler and eraser and everything. So anyways, let's go back to Strange Things comment. I think it's one that could also be debated as you are editing what the AI is imagining for you. It's true, and you can reload the AI. So there's an edit. It's like the original words. To me, to call that an edit is maybe not. That's an idea. Here's my idea. But once you start deciding which prompt you want to use, like you saw our Nike clothing, there's 4 different clothing there. I want to use that one. Okay, so that's an edit. So then we're starting to choose and decide this, not that. I use 3, and then, Strange Thing reveals a lot. And I think it shows, to me, this confidence in showing his process would suggest that this isn't as easy as, he just showed his process, now you're going to do it. I don't think it's that easy, actually, after using just, say, Discord as a test. So I use 3 AI tools so far: Midjourney, DALL-E, and Topaz Gigapixel for enlargement. I use DALL-E mainly for in-painting. Look, I use DALL-E mainly for in-painting, where you use a rubber or an eraser on the MJ, on the Midjourney PNG, and give it a prompt to fill that area in or to remove items you don't want in that does not suit the composition. So it sounds to me like Strange Thing is using Midjourney for the initial rough composition, we might call it, and then uses DALL-E for edits, like remove the hand or make a new hand or whatever the case is. Exactly, to fill that area in or to remove items you don't want in that does not suit the composition. So the deeper we go into this, another great video, thank you. And thank you again, Strange Thing. I think it's incredibly generous, what you're telling us here. And it's super fascinating. So thank you. I'm just so excited about our, the people that watch this. It's, again, so conclusion as we continue this discovery process, it's not as easy as it looks. And look at how refined this process is. I mean, going back and forth, using MJ as the compositional tool, and then DALL-E for the edits. I mean, this person didn't just start, using AI a week ago and is now putting out 50 works a day based on that, finding a little trick. This sounds like what we were calling in a much earlier episode, a process machine. This sounds like a process, which to me, once you start getting these, what I call process machines together, then it's about, the art is partly about your process. And as we see with Gerhard Richter and Warhol, when these formulas that are put out, and then you get certain results, and the results are kind of a testament to the process. Okay, so I don't want to go too far here, but I feel like I'm learning something, a new work by Strange Thing. So hat tip again. Thanks for sharing your process with us, because it's super educational. Look at these. Okay, these are listings. So offers, and again, look at the market for AI art. Accepted offers, look, 75, 55. So a cool 500 or 600 Tezos. So, pretty interesting. Strange Thing is doing very well. I'm tempted to think that this person, Hannibal, is using AI because their work is a little too good. This is who's it, Max Beckmann, I believe? The German expressionists, Max Beckmann paintings. Is it German expressionists? I don't know if Max Beckmann is the perfect, but kind of in that spirit here. Nice tiny image. Or Otto Dix, almost, but not quite. Anyway, let's go back. But to me, this looks like German expressionist painting. I put something in your drink. The pianist hallucinates before his rendition of the Goldberg Variations. Buy for 60. No mention of AI. Sale. So these are selling for 5. What's funny? Hannibal might be thinking, oh, I don't need to put that it's AI. Who cares? It's just a tool, and I don't need to tell anybody. I wonder if it might even sell better if you put AI and all of a sudden you can start charging twice as much. Just an open question. I don't know the answer to that. But again, actually, let's look at some of Hannibal's other work, because there's this, I find a remarkable consistency. I think I discovered Hannibal from Mikey Wilson. I think he was tweeting one of these that he had picked up a piece. So again, like, this looks like really good painting, but there's not enough information here, is sort of how I feel about it from putting on my collector's hat. Again, pretty interesting. Like, these are nice paintings, right? Like, it's a pretty nice painting. You find that in a gallery, you go, oh, like, I'm going to take a closer look. This looks like it was really made well. We have no information, though. That's my kind of thing. It's like, so therefore I suspect AI, because it's almost like there's almost too much consistency. This has come out in the last few days. Bringing up some of our earlier reservations. Okay, maybe it's not as easy as we thought it was to make this stuff, but maybe it's not maybe once you get a feel for it, it's not that hard, or you find your thing. So anyways, I'm kind of balancing out this. It's not as easy as pressing a button. We know that much, okay? As we try and understand these AI artists. So just wrapping up here. So Myth had one of these one-of-one portraits that he puts out. I think it's the Mythson series here. You can see, and he was doing this a few months ago. You see the RoboCop, that one looks awesome. I managed to pick that one up a couple of months ago. Someone was selling it. So just a cool series, and a bit of a bidding war. I was watching it. I was like, oh, is this thing going to go for like 25 or 30 Tezos? But I was holding back. I was like, you don't need to own... I had the last 3 one-of-ones by the Myths, so I don't need to hoard them. It's not even good for like the artist or anybody. So I was like, I can hold back. But then a bidding war started. So I was like, okay, now I can feel a little bit better about it. And it went for 65 Tezos, which is pretty respectable on Tezos, $107 picture of Marvin Gaye. So very cool. And finally, why do we have Kristen Roos here? Yeah, is this new? September 11th. I thought this was old for some reason. Let me just see if we can get a... There we go. So just another interesting artist. Let me maximize this. He's always got kind of expensive prices, so I assume he's got a bit of a collector base. Maybe he manages it well as well, his kind of market. He's one of these guys you see pretty early on as well that kind of stands out when you start collecting on Tezos. So, yeah, I mean, pretty offer of 58 on this one. So, I mean, offers are real. And this is the sort of stuff that I think I picked up a couple of these. I think it was System 6.2 here. No, it was this guy. So just a cool kind of pixel artist, making nice GIFs, playing with, pixels. So just an interesting edition of 120, selling for 25 still. And then finally this Morigato, I'm just sort of looking at, he's experimenting with basically looks like samples of paintings or paintings that, or who knows? I don't know what's going on here. First I generate, then I destroy. So just kind of interesting, just kind of, I take a look when Morigato makes something. And this is back to the physical NFTs. Cool work by 8080, Woman in Yellow and Blue, acrylic, graphite, charcoal, and sand. So I go, oh, this is a photo of a painting, but then it says digital painting. So maybe the colors are being changed here. And hat tip to Blamo, again, who I think is becoming an important part of this program, as I said in the YouTube comments. Much appreciate the comments, Blamo. So, I mean, this brings up very quickly here. Let's say this person, this looks like it's painted physically. Like, you see, I assume. You see, like, the light, it looks like it's painted physically, they say. But what if they just changed the colors and then kind of modified the colors a little bit? then where does that leave? It shows that it's not a black and white issue, this whole physical NFT thing, because if they modify it, then you kind of have to start to say, well, I guess that is the work. So you see, it's sold really nicely. Accept offers of 50. Look at this. Web links. So people really jumped into this. So digital painting, but using acrylic, graphite, charcoal. So again, not super clear what the digital part is, but I'd assume maybe the color and who knows? Who knows? So there's that, and another work by Daucante Draws, another physical work. So a nice piece, right? And then we had a work by Ed Marola. So anyways, thought I'd put on some Ed Marola for our outro here, because I really like these combination of music and kind of pixel art and his purple thing. He's just an original guy. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope we got somewhere. And until next time, take care.